Alright, what is up YouTube? HPJ here, and good morning to you all. Today we have, this is what we've been waiting for because we've known this was gonna happen. We're informed that this was happening. The OCG's Forbidden Limited List has now been released for the OCG, and yeah, of course, I was gonna talk about it because why not? And it seems that a certain dragon ruler has made an appearance. So now we're officially gonna have two dragon rulers out. I wonder if this is gonna be anything to promote the next duelist pack for the fire duelist, which actually would be really cool because remember Blaster is fire attribute, and Blaster was probably one of the strongest of the dragon rulers just because of the fact that it had the ability. Shit, my cards are falling over. Okay, I got them. It has the ability to destroy stuff by discarding itself, and I believe either another fire and or dragon monster to do such. So yeah, this is. Oh, I'm sure a lot of people are very excited to know that Blaster will be coming back, just because now Blaster and Tempest have someone to combo off of. So, oh, and Sparks. I forgot about Sparks, the fire dragon ruler as well. So, yeah, well, we're gonna take a look at this. So, for those who just clear confirmation of things. OCG is basically everyone who plays in Asia and the related territories. I want to say Australia as well, but Australia, I think, is the one of the territories that plays between OCG and TCG. While here in the TCG, we have our own Forbidden Limited list. Roughly, it gets affected by the OCG's tournaments and content. But yeah, just a bit of clarification there. So why don't we go ahead and take a look. So first off is Forbidden Sprite Elf to Forbidden Limited. Oh, this is a nice long list. We have Blaster, the Dragon Ruler of Infernos. Glow Up Bulb is making its return. Mudora, the Sword Oracle, is going to one. Kelbeck, the Ancient Vanguard, going to one. The Bastio Liberon going to one. Sprite Blue going to one. Tier Element Havis going to one. Oh, yeah, going to one. Tier Element Mariel going to one. Bastille Storm going to one. Bastille Baldrake going to one. And Skill Drain going to one. Damn. That was a lot of kills right there. For the semi-limited, we have Ancient Fairy Dragon, Salaman Great Gazelle, Shiryuja the Skull Dread, Telenite Palameus, Blackwing Steam the Cloak, Thunder Dragon Hawk, Nadir's Servant, Spellbook of Judgment, and Runic Fountain. For the unlimited, we have Galatea, the Orcos Automaton, Swap Frog, Sky Striker Kagari, Yadagarasu, and Cursed Eldland. So yeah, that is all of the cards that are changed on the OCG's Forbidden Legion list. If you guys would like a picture of it, I definitely will show it to you guys here. You probably won't see most of the cards because the video itself I have to like move into frame and stuff. So hold on, give me one sec. But that should be enough to move into frame. So yeah, there we go. Blaster Global, Medora, Calbeck, Bastia Liberon, Blue Sprite, Muriel, Havis. Yeah, so those are all the pictures of the cards in the OCG. The OCG cards, by the way, look amazing. Look at all that uncensoring. Ancient Fairy, Gazelle, Shiryuja, what is that? Steam the Cloak, Hawk, and Dear Servant. Um, oh, now it makes sense though. The Dear Servant. That's the picture of That's the Despia monster. I think that's Joker trying to attack Ecclesia, the virtuous of Dogmatica. Celebrate the Judgment, Rune Fountain. Yeah, so yeah, these are all the cards that are going to use. Oh, I forgot to continue a spell for the Eldritch was limited in UCG. For good reasons too. But yeah, let's talk about this. I think one of the biggest hits, of course, is that Sprites lost one of their bigger parts of their engine, considering that Sprite is still good. OCG or TCG wise. It's just so many things you splash into the deck that made it viable. Because remember, the deck is level 2 oriented, so having someone that's access to that can be very detriment to the game. I mean, it does limit a lot of the things that the OCG was able to that decks were able to do in terms of what Sprite had to offer. Because I think Sprite took the turn and went to Sprite Tri Brigade, which is even nastier because remember they have a ton of access to Beast Warrior, and Winged Beast monsters. Primarily those that played in the level 1 or 2 range, and just being able to survive off of those engines really made what Sprite is in the OCG. And a bit of it here in the TCG as well, because that is a nasty deck to go up against all the different combos, and you have to find a way to break the board without the board trying to break you. So yeah, it is nice to see that another part of that engine that definitely needs to be hit got hit. So I want to see how the OCG is going to play now without um, one of the big contenders. I mean, the second one, of course, is that Sprite Blue got hit to 1. So their Stratos is now been hit. Uh, you know a deck is good when the Stratos started getting hit. I also look at the fact that majority of the tier elemental Shizu cards have now been hit to 1 as well, which we're gonna go into now. We'll talk about Glow Up and Blaster in just a minute, but let's talk about all of the Shizu's cards and all the goddamn tier element cards getting hit once again. When one of your boss monsters gets banned, you know, you try to survive, and then when all of your limited stuff starts getting hit, yeah, that definitely just tells you there. Yeah, this deck is still too good in the OCG, and still in the TCG, it's still doing predominantly well. I think because of this engine is why it's still doing predominantly well. You have the Bastions, and while the decks aren't 60 card and they're throwing out the grass is greener, you do look at it at this point of when you have an engine coming into the game that's supposed to mitigate situations, and then it becomes part of the problem. You see why it needs to definitely be hit. While looking at it at my ends of the spectrum, no, this shit did need to be hit to 1. I don't think everything needed to, well, no, certain things did need to be banned, which eventually did. But just also the fact that you had an engine of an archetype that did nothing but mill and recover from milling, influencing a deck in an archetype that loved to mill, and in feeling potential support and setup for cards that banish cards that have been milled. Yeah, just things definitely had to be here. Also, was there any Bastille Spite decks? I wouldn't be surprised, just because of how that engine runs about banishing light and darks, and then most of them are light and dark. Well, they're a combination of light, dark, fire. I think maybe a water or two, but still, just feeling off engines and things to make sure that things are going around. You kind of look at the fact that Fairy Tale Snow in the TCG legitimately had to be hit because of the same situation, where it was just too many decks that filled off of having a heavy arsenal of mill, having a way of setting up the graveyard heavily, and then having things being able to be banished to summon bear monsters to do more combos and more things to get out of situations that normally you shouldn't have if the board is set up correctly. But then also that's the thing there. The board has to be set up correctly. So yeah, look at all these spell, trap, monster searchers, and negations, and fusions and setups going away. Skill drain, I actually did not think they had skill drain at multiples, but then thinking about it, nothing nothing hits the meta like a nice beatdown deck. Like, oh, my monsters have no effect. I have big beaters on the board now. Thank you. Like, that's literally what skill drain does. It just makes all the monsters on the field big ass beat sticks with no face given. And there are ways you can work around your own skill drain. Trust me, I've seen many players in decks do it. Hell, Eldritch is a good example of it because Eldritch just had big ass beat sticks on the field with 3k attack points for no reason. Trains love skill drain. I think that literally is only a matter of time before they decide to want to limit skill drain again in TCG. But I don't think it's gonna be too long. Alright, I got basically a good portion of the competitive shit out the way. Let's go ahead and talk about these babies right here. Global and Blaster, the Dragon Ruler of Inferno. So now that Harpie 5X has been banned, Global Bowl is one of the media tuners making its appearance back into the scene. If you guys don't know, Global actually isn't even the reason why tuners in that whole situation. I think it's just the fact that Mill was generated off of Global, because if you never played with Global, then you probably don't know. But Global's effect is that if it's in the graveyard, you can send the top card of your deck to the graveyard to special summon this monster. But you only use that effect once per duel. So yeah, it is a once per duel effect on a tuner that's level 1. That can be detrimental because there are a lot of, oh look, I have this really big monster. Here's this really low level tuner, synchro and make a big synchro monster. Is what Global generated. Like, when Global came out, Jesus Christ, the generation of Plant Synchro, Plant Turbo was just ridiculous. Then when all the dragons started coming around, they started using tuners in engines that you probably wouldn't think worked well. They started working well. Global was part of that engine because that was the recovery of Plant Engine going into Dragon Ruler to give Dragon Ruler more potential monsters to synchro with to make stuff like Star Eater, Crimson Blader, and stuff like that. Um, then, of course, the Plant Links, the Plant Link Turbos, all of that survives. And then when Hauki 5X came out, they had to ban a lot of tuners. Global was part of that scenario that got banned because there was just too many things generating off of it. And then at that point, now that Hauki is banned, they can bring a lot of this things back. Because you saw a lot of them in the TCG coming back. Then the OCG started. Well, the OCG started unbanning errors. The TCG started unbanning errors. And now here we are with that shit. So just a matter of time before Spore and them come back as well. I think Spore is already back. But yeah, big boy. Dragon Ruler Inferno. The Dragon Rulers are basically slowly making their appearance. Do I think the Dragon Rulers will ever go back to multiples? No. Even to the point where I don't think they're as plausible as they were back then. But the combo game is still real. Because remember, there are a lot of great rank 7 monsters now. And there's even more rank 7 monsters since the debut of the Dragon Rulers. Where your rank 7 monsters are basically Galaxy Tomahawk, was it Master of Blades, the jumping price for Big Eye, the jumping price for Draco Sack, and stuff like that. And now we have Harmonizing Randelia, we have Red Eyes Flare Metal Dragon. Um, there's all those rank 7s that you can think of are possibly sitting because of Dragon Ruler. And, Chimpus has a friend to play with, so that is a great addition to it. If anything, that they're great additions to that. And now there's a second Dragon Ruler. Does this mean that Dragon Link has more support? Eventually, yeah. Just how do you play into Blaster? I also think the fact that Blaster getting unbanned in the OCG is primarily because they're getting ready to release the Pyro Duelist pack. And because this monster works with fire, this monster is a fire attributed dragon. And that was the intent of what the dragon rules were initially where they were dragons to support the different attributes that they are. Tempest being wind, Blaster being fire, Redox being earth, and Tidal being water, while having also their baby forms to support them. So, yeah, it's nice to see that. I wouldn't be surprised if we see the TCG list reveal that Blaster is on it. Alright, we're going to move on from the Semi Limited. Let's move on to the Semi Limited. Basically, cards that were limited just because there were too many combos that were going on with them respectively, or the respective types. Seeing as how this list is moderately long, all I can really tell you is that thanks to Arata, Ancient Fairy Dragon came back. Now that the Arata has slowed her down, she's going to start seeing multiple play. You don't really see a lot of play out of Salamangreat, so it's okay to bring back Gazelle. Saryuja was just big combo. That's why Saryuja itself is now coming back in the multiples in the OCG. We saw multiples of Saryuja here in the TCG. There's no one uses Saryuja because Saryuja requires so much to do so much off of Saryuja. Palameus, of course, because the Tellarknight support, or the Stellar Knight support. And of course, this will just be another way to combo into Cyber Dragon Infinity, giving a little leeway for the Thunder Dragons, giving them back another edition of Hawk, sticking the Cloak for Black Wings, and really just a combo game off of token creator off of a tuner monster as well, which is even more bananas. Nadir Servant going to 2, and of course, Spellbook of Judgment, respective archetypes with respective support. And being as how it's really easy now to just play over Spellbook, it's not Spellbook having Judgment back really is going to make the deck tier, but it also just gives the deck some more support to itself to bounce back. I actually am shocked that they haven't released any more new spellbook cards, but maybe that's a fruition of something that comes in the future. But also be careful of what you do print, because this would bump up Judgment's power even stronger. And yeah, because Branded is doing so well, give back, support for Dogmatica. And Runic, I know Runic is really good. Runic is really barbaric amount of spell. So just trying to hit what you can to see how it flow. Because I'm actually quite shocked this isn't at 1 or banned, just because of how well Runic is doing. And then for all the unlimited cards, it's kind of the same thing with the semi-limited. Things have gotten to fruition, and it's okay to bring these cards back to multiples. The big one is Yada, just because Yada, what is there really for you to really worry about Yada? Like, there is no lock. All the cards that were around the Yada lock have now been errated, so there's no real need to make this monster. There's nothing to really search for this except maybe Sangan. I think there's like a few spirit cards that search for spirit monsters, but it is what it is with this one. Kagari going back, so it gets Drytracker more of an engine, and more of a retrieve, but that's about it. Orcos is probably happy to see Orcos Automaton coming back to 3. Swap Rock going with 3, but remember, Rodentone is banned. And the other thing is that most of the spike stuff has now been hit to where it's nerfed to nothing. And Eldritch has their continuous spell. So, yay. My final thoughts on all of this, of course, is that I'm happy to see Blaster back in Global. That's one big thing there, because I do like the artwork of Blaster. It looks really cool. The hits on competitive decks will always be a thing, so it's nothing. I really don't have much to say about the Shizu, Splight, Bastille, and Tier Elemental stuff getting hit, except for you figure these things are getting hit. They're all over the place in the metagaming. They're trying to shift out the old to shift in the new. This is what Konami does. So, no one is surprised by that. Skill Drain, I thought that was a random hit, but now I'm thinking about it, no. It still is to be a Skill Drain. So some things like this. But yeah, I mean, like I said, most of this stuff is coming back because everything else got hit, and they want to see some more of the other stuff being relatively used. So, alright, with that said and done, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna move this back into position, because, of course, I don't like other stuff that's not part of the video that I'm being presented, being here. So let me know in the comment section what you guys think of the new Forbidden Limited list for the OCG. Do you guys? What things do you think they would take from any TCG and put into fruition for the TCG? I'm actually very excited to see that myself. And just see how it goes down the TCG list. Ain't no telling when our list is going to change. I think they said sometime in April. So, yeah, we can see a double video for Forbidden Limited list. So let me know all of your thoughts in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel, as it helps me out tremendously. You also hit the notification bell so you guys can be informed of when I upload more content to the channel. Social media links are in the description box below, and if you guys want to catch me live, you can catch me on twitch.tv/HarpiePlayerJump. And with that said and done, thanks everybody for watching, and I'll catch y'all next time. HBJ signing out. Take care.